Well, top of the midday to ya. It's St. Patty's Day. Welcome to Ladies of Another View on Beck. We are excited to be here. I love St. Patrick's Day. It's kind of a fun little holiday.
Yeah, love it.
This morning, I spent the morning up at St. Mary's. They have, it's become a ritual up there that they have ice cream on St. Patrick's Day. So it's kind of a fun little
Green
event.
mint ice cream, right?
Well, there was mint topping, that's for sure. That's for sure. But we're going to start out our day because, you know, St. Patrick's Day has become a big celebration, but it's kind of an American celebration. They really don't celebrate St. Patrick's Day in Ireland. It kind of started back in the 1700s, I believe. There was a gentleman who, well, the Irish were over here, and they wanted to celebrate being Irish, and people made fun of the Irish, and so it was their way of becoming or making it a holiday. But over in Ireland, it's actually a religious holiday. It's Holy Day. And so it's, they usually go to Mass, and they used to have a nice little lunch in the afternoon. It was just very, very solemn. And they kind of celebrate it now, but they took that from Americans.
Right.
So it's kind of interesting.
It became a big tourism trade for them on St. Patrick's Day. And everything's closed because it's a religious holiday except the bars and the restaurants. And the first St. Patrick's Day parade was in the United States, in New York, not in Ireland. In 1762, the Irish soldiers were serving in the British Army, and so a bunch of them decided they were going to march down the street in honor of St. Patrick's Day, and that became the oldest parade in this country, is the St. Patrick's Day parade.
Well, what I read was they marched down the street. Actually, they kind of walked fast to the nearest pub is what it was. That's what I read. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, let's talk a little bit about him. He was actually born around the end of the 4th century, and then he is believed to have died on March 17th, 460 AD. But he was taken prisoner when he was 16 years old, and he was in prison for 6 years, and he worked as a shepherd at that time. So he was all by himself, pretty lonely during the time, and he kind of had a come to Jesus meeting. He basically just started following his religion, and he had a revelation that he should spread Christianity throughout Ireland. But he was actually born in Great Britain, so he's not even Irish. He is a British citizen, or was a British citizen, so that was interesting. But then he also received a second revelation, and it told him he should leave the area and spread more Christianity. So he ended back up in Great Britain again, spreading Christianity. So it's really kind of interesting, and that he actually wasn't ever canonized by the Catholic Church. But back then they didn't have the canonization, like they say that word on St. Patty's Day. They didn't do it like they do in today's world. So anyway, he was just thought of as a saint, and that's how St. Patty's Day got started.
Yeah, isn't that something? And then part of it too, one of the folklore pieces was that he drove all the snakes from the Isle of
But
Ireland.
that was just folklore.
Yeah, they said there never were snakes there. Well, I don't know how they know that for sure, but you know, that's the way that is.
And it could be that the snakes were the Druids, because he worked as a shepherd, so he learned the language. So when he went back to his country and he had a dream, I'm actually named after St. Patrick, Patty, and grew up in the Detroit area where St. Patrick's Day is a major holiday, and we have a St. Patrick's Day parade there. And I've written about him quite a bit, and I used to be an Irish step dancer, so it's like, this is my day. We always celebrated it when the kids were growing up. But he had a dream that a ship was ready for him. So he left, he snuck away, and he didn't have any money, and the captain threw him off the ship, and then he prayed, and the captain said, okay, come on back, and he got back to his homeland. But then he felt called again to come back, and that's why I love him so much, is because he went back to the land where he was a slave, and then the gospel spread so quickly, the faith spread so quickly there against Druidism and paganism, because he could speak it in their language, and he understood the customs, and he was so loved by the Irish.
Well, they talked about his customs, and I guess they used to use fire when they were praying to their pagan gods. They used fire, so he would bring that into into Christianity, and also the sun. They used to pray to the sun. And so the Celtic, is it Celtic or Celtic?
Celtic.
Celtic. I was wrong.
Yeah.
It's all right.
The third choice.
That's all right.
Celtic. Anyway, so on the Celtic cross, that's why there's that, it's kind of like a little symbolism on top. That's because he added it to bring Christianity, to kind of combine their pagan religion with Christianity, and it brought more people on board. So that was really interesting.
Right, right.
Well, it was Holy Saturday, and the Druid king is supposed to light the first fire, and they had some kind of Druid holiday. It wasn't Easter, and under threat of death. So St. Patrick lit the Easter Vigil fire. So he was arrested and got to meet the king and explain what Christianity was about. And they had all their magicians, and it was there was darkness that kind of fell over the city, and they were all trying to lift the darkness, and he prayed, and the clouds lifted, and the sun came out. So the king gave him permission to go ahead and promote Christianity.
Wow.
Although he himself never converted.
Isn't
The
that
king, you think he
something?
would have, but
Yeah,
at least
yeah.
he gave permission.
Right.
Yeah.
And they also said that St. Patrick used the clover leaf, the
Shamrock, yeah.
the shamrock, to teach the divinity, the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. And they say there really is no such thing as a shamrock, but there were, I don't know, I don't care.
Well,
There's
McDonald's would say otherwise. I didn't eat a Shamrock Shake. So that was a picture. The picture that we had up on the screen was a stained glass in one of the churches, because everybody back then pretty much looked like Moses. So you see any saint from back then.
They just put different clothing on everybody, right?
They really do. But we have another picture of St. Patrick as well, and it's pretty much the same thing, but just a man with white hair and a beard, but just so interesting. But another little fact about St. Patrick's Day, about corned beef and cabbage, that is not an Irish tradition. It's ham and cabbage is the Irish tradition, but back in the day, when ships were coming to America, the poor Irish would run down to the shore and try to buy the provisions of whatever was left over on these long ship sails, all right? So then they would buy beef that had been salted, and they paid a penny a pound for this salted beef, and then they boiled it 3 times. The third time that they boiled it, they actually boiled it with potatoes and cabbage, and that's how corned beef and cabbage came around. And now they eat that in Ireland.
Oh my gosh.
So that's another American tradition that Ireland went ahead and adopted.
Right,
I think it's just great how we can share all those cultural things.
Well, and how they spread, because when the Irish first came to this country, they were not treated very well. There'd be signs up that said the Irish don't apply. But wherever they went, they took their beloved St. Patrick with them. So now in New Zealand, Australia, Canada, and North America, or in the United States especially, they celebrate St. Patrick's Day. And everybody's Irish on that day, because not even St. Patrick was really Irish, so we can all adopt him.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I know I used to live in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and that was a huge event down there. It's like all the big hotels, they would all book these big parties, and you would have thousands of people. There was always a parade, and when I moved back up here, which is my home area, I noticed that they didn't take on their tradition like they did in the Sioux Falls area, which really surprised me. But I think that's more of a melting pot down there. There's a lot of Norwegian, German, Irish, Dutch Reformed, just a lot of ethnicities down there, Native
And
Americans.
Butte, Montana, it's huge. And we just happened to be there on St. Patrick's Day. It's huge there.
It is.
For some
It
reason,
is.
I guess a lot of Irish
And
must
New
have-
York City, here's a photo of one of the very first St. Patrick's Day around 1860. That's kind of what you could expect for a parade. And then we had another one. This is a postcard. So it's become a very American holiday. Anyway, we're going to be back after we hear these messages. We have a wonderful guest. Linda Thorson is going to join us. We'll be right back.
Respect, innovation, trust, and excellence. These core values can be seen in every building built by Straightway Construction. In the community for over 15 years, Straightway Construction has become the premier construction company for commercial projects. From dirt to design and framing to finish, Straightway Construction is your #1 choice. You won't have to look far to find a project that has that Straightway touch. Call them today or go online to straightwayconstruction.com and let them make your vision a reality.
Hi, I'm Dennis Haugen, along with my sons Andy and Mike, and we're showing our support for wind energy in North Dakota.
Wind energy has provided farmers like us with a steady stream of income that's not tied to the weather like crops and cattle are.
Another bonus is that wind farm owners are required to maintain the roads leading up to the turbines. Because of that, oftentimes these roads are the best in the county. Wind energy is good for landowners, it's good for the land, it's good for our economy, and it's good for North Dakota.
Beck Communications is now hiring independent sales agents around the state. We're looking for highly motivated individuals to take advantage of this opportunity, selling advertising for our news and sports programming on Beck TV and sponsorships for the Bismarck Bucks indoor football team. Independent sales agents will make 50% commission on their completed sales for all products. Beck TV is the leader in broadcasting local sports, owner of the Bismarck Bucks indoor football team, and originator of newly launched news opinion programming. Submit your application now at careers@bechtel.coop. This is an exciting opportunity you can't pass up. 50% commission for independent sales agents now hiring at Beck Communications.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Pub 21, your one stop for fun, drinks, and food. Our spacious facility provides COVID-safe fun for you and all your friends. With nightly bingo and specials, you can be sure there's something to do for everyone. If you're staying in for the night, we've got you covered just across the way with Pub 21 Liquor. We have a wide variety of options, from wine to whiskey and everything in between. Stop in today at 1014 South 12th Street in Bismarck to see what all the buzz is about. You won't be disappointed.
Welcome back to Ladies of Another View on Beck. We're going to switch gears a little bit because there's a lot going on during our legislative session right here in North Dakota. We have a guest today. Her name is Linda Thorson. I want to thank you for coming. Linda is with the Concerned Women for America. And she's going to talk about some of the bills and the resolutions that are going on up on the Hill. Why don't we just, first of all, tell me a little bit about Concerned Women for America. Tell me what that's all about.
Yeah, well, thank you for inviting me here.
Thank you for coming.
Concerned Women for America, we have leaders throughout our state and in fact throughout the country. We are the nation's largest public policy women's organization and our state's largest public policy women's organization. The key there is women.
Wow, that's great.
And what we do is we advocate for biblical principles. And it's all volunteers at the state level. So I'm the state director of North Dakota.
Wonderful.
And we have prayer action chapters, they're called. And those are women that gather together to pray about issues. If they are members, they come together once a month. We provide information from our national office and from our state office that explain what the issues are currently. Like you mentioned already, Legislative Action Committee is what I'm a part of for Concerned Women for America. So I represent our members throughout the state when I speak on behalf of them at the Bismarck Capitol. And our key thing there is prayer action chapters.
And so you don't have to be any specific denomination, you can just come and pray.
Biblical principles are what we support. So of course, and conservative, but prayer being the big thing. That the other thing we do, Mary, is we have these ladies that volunteer to encourage our legislators. So I know some of you have been involved with that. And that's a really great thing. Our legislators are so grateful for that too. So what happens is we donate postcards to ladies. And they send these out to a legislator with a message of encouragement. And they commit to pray during the legislative session. We know that moves hearts and changes things. And the thing is, our legislators hear plenty from us when we don't like what they do. this is an opportunity to say thank you. Thank you for serving our state. Thank you for taking time away from your family or your business to do the things you do. We don't write about why did you do that or we want you to do this. It's just a very encouraging message. It's called Encourage a Legislator.
Wow, that's interesting. You know, and I've known about it, but I didn't know all the details of it. And I think that's something I want to get involved in.
Sure.
Yeah, and I've met some very nice lady legislators up there. We have become good friends.
Yes.
And I want to say that, you know, when you think about your legislators, people, you know, think that, you know, they're a political figure. It's like they are people. They are just like us sitting right here on these chairs, and just like you sitting out there on your chairs. They are just they're your neighbors. They're your friends. You know,
So what's so surprising to me is how hungry people are for that encouragement.
Oh, you bet.
Know, because their names and faces are out there, and we know they hear when they don't do the right thing, what we don't consider.
Right.
So it's so fun to see when they come to me, because I'll have my badge on, my little name tag, and oh, thank you. Thank you for the ladies that are supporting me in prayer. You know, it's just great to see. I'll even see postcards sometimes on a desk from our group that has mailed those out. So we know we're touching hearts.
Yeah.
And it's a great opportunity to encourage one another.
Okay, well, let's talk about some of the hearts that you have touched this year with the bills that are going on. I think the first one we were going to visit on is the Senate Concurrent Resolution 4010. Tell us about that.
Yeah, that's a very interesting bill, or it's a resolution, actually. It's something that hasn't, how would I say that? It's going to be in our Government and Veterans Affairs, and that will be tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay, so it's passed already, it's passed the Senate. And what the idea of this resolution is just to clarify where we are as a state with the ERA. Equal Rights Amendment, it sounds great. It's like a lot of things with a good name, but it's a dangerous thing. And to know what's happened is that back in 1975, our legislators decided to ratify the ERA, to sign, I shouldn't say even ratify, they signed that they would like the ERA to be a part of the U.S. Constitution as an amendment to the U.S. Constitution. It isn't in our state law. It's what they needed at that time. If you remember, ladies, I don't know if you remember, we're active politically, but in the 70s, there was a group of people that wanted the ERA passed, and they needed 38 states to sign it, to ratify the equal rights in the U.S. Constitution, to write this amendment for a U.S. Constitution. They had an end clause, or what they call sunset clause, of 1979. They needed those 38 states in their state legislatures to sign that they wanted to be a part of this ERA resolution. Well, what happened is they never got the 38 states. Why wouldn't they? It was a poorly written resolution. So now what's happened is leaders in our House, in our Legislative Assembly, have decided we want to clarify that this resolution was never ratified and you can't bring it back. Okay. Now, the reason you would do that, Mary, is because a couple of things. The ERA harms women, for one thing. And secondly, it was so poorly written that we know they can, courts will change it. It won't empower our women. It will empower the courts.
Dear, I want to just point out part of that resolution. It says, be it further resolved that after March 22nd, 1979, the Legislative Assembly, while in agreement, women and men should enjoy equal rights in the eyes of the law, should not be counted by Congress, the archivists of the United States, lawmakers in any other state, any court of law, or any other person as still having on record a live ratification of the proposed Equal Rights Amendment to the Constitution of the United States as was offered by the House Joint Resolution number 208 of the 92nd Congress on March 22nd, 1972. That was a lot of words. Sorry about that.
So I'll make it simple.
Thank you.
So let's think back. Maybe you all had a driver's license back in the early 70s. I did. So what if I never got another license? I just kept that license. And I get pulled over and I pull out my 1975 license, driver's license, and the officer says, well, that's expired. Well, it says driver's license, it says Linda Thorson, it should be good. that isn't the case. We know expiration date means it's no longer valid, correct? Now this is what's happening with this. They're saying, well, the end date doesn't matter.
Unless it's on a Twinkie.
Yeah.
Is it at the national level they're trying to bring it back then? Is that what you're saying?
Yes. So certain states have ratified a state level ERA.
But the sunset was 1979.
Well, so of the U.S. Constitution.
Oh.
So there's two different things, and they get mixed. And in our media, they get it confused too, and it's understandable. They're saying that we're trying to rescind the ERA resolution. We haven't rescinded it. This bill or this resolution isn't about rescinding. You won't see that word in it. It's clarifying it. You can't rescind something that was never ratified. It was never ratified.
Linda, my concern is, and we have less than a minute, so we might have to talk about this in the next segment, but my concern is less about the expiration date and more about the problems, like how it will change our society and not protect women, that's going to be harmful to women. That's my concern with this.
Correct.
And I think we're going to go ahead.
about it
We're going to
and-
have to
okay.
take a little break here, and we're going to catch up
Okay.
on the other side, because I know you have so much more, and we have 3 other bills to go over as well. But we'll be back, and we're going to learn a whole lot more from Linda right after this.
I'm gonna have to talk fast.
Jeez, what a mess. Look at that. There's roof stuff everywhere. It's so embarrassing. Ruins the neighborhood. Come on, humans. Let's get this fixed.
Don't let your roof go to the dogs. Call America's Best Contractors for your free estimate.
Need a new woof?
After checking with the rest, go with the best. America's Best Contractors. 258-2412. Online at americasbestcontractorsincorporated.com.
Indoor football is back in Bismarck. Bucks football season is right around the corner. Grab a friend or family member for a night of action-packed, hard-hitting entertainment. The Bucks open at the Bismarck Event Center May 8th as they take on the Massachusetts Pirates. Catch the sweetest seats in the house right on the sidelines with VIP service at a Bucks turf table. Available now for single game purchases. Secure your tickets today by calling 701-595-0771. Bucks football, half the field and double the fun.
At Beck Communications, we've been planning for your future. Over the past decade, we've placed nearly 200,000 miles of dedicated fiber optics in the ground. Enough fiber optic strands to circle the world 8 times. Taking no shortcuts, we connected every home and business in our service area with dedicated fiber optics. It's your personal, unrestricted, unthrottled connection to the world. Best of all, this dedicated fiber means you do not share your connection. We call this intimate dedicated connection Beck Fiber.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and as you know, my passion is to help each and every one of you get the best sleep of your life. That's why I created my new Giza Dreams bed sheets. The first night you sleep on my sheets, you'll never want to sleep on anything else.
Go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen right now to get your very own MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets. When you buy one set of sheets, you'll get another set absolutely free.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
Ever been in a cave before?
It's our first time.
All right.
Where are you going?
I'll see you at the car!
How will we?
The car! Your offer's been accepted. Ever bought a house before?
It's our first time.
All right.
Where are you going?
I'll see you at the closing.
But how will we?
The closing!
Beck News brings you real people and real news. Every weekday on KNDB, KNDM, and KRDK. Start your evening with the Dr. Duke Show at 4. Take a fresh look at current events with Ladies of Another View at 4:30. Go down the road with Joel at 5:30. Watch No Apologies with Becker at 9. Cap off your night with No Filter with Debbie at 10. Beck News. Real people, real news.
Welcome back to Ladies of Another View on Beck. We're visiting with Linda Thorson from the Concerned Women for America, and we're learning so much, and there's so much more to learn on that bill alone. Why don't we just pick up where we left off? Why don't you kind of summarize it for us so we all get it?
So basically, ladies and viewers, what the problem is that the ERA isn't needed. It's poorly written. So other things, the courts will be empowered to provide things that we don't want, that Americans haven't voted for.
And you said on the break it's because it's already in the 14th Amendment, correct?
Correct. Yes, we have the 14th Amendment. And in 1971, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that in a Reed versus Reed case, that 14th Amendment prohibits discrimination based on sex. So we already have it. And the reason this is so wanted by people that are abortion proponents is because then they can write into law, codify in effect, our abortion rights. So that every woman who becomes pregnant cannot be denied an abortion, because that is a physical characteristic only women can have. So you can't discriminate against her in that way. So even a conscientious clause, which they use now and rightfully should for race discrimination, you can't discriminate and not provide a medical procedure because of someone's race, correct?
Right. So then why is this such a big deal in North Dakota? Who's fighting this?
Well, it's behind the scenes. It's basically, I don't know if the media doesn't know or if they just haven't done their homework well enough. But the spin is that we're trying to rescind ERA, equal rights for our women in North Dakota. We're not. We can vote for this, legislators can vote for this and still be for equal rights for North Dakotans. And that's what we're asking them to do. We are making it, that's why I talk so much about the sunset clause. This resolution is only that there was an end date of 1979. And it makes sense, doesn't it? Don't bring this up and say, like, my driver's license is still valid. We all know it isn't.
Right.
So how this hurts women then is it provides a way for abortion to be paid for. And it's been done already. We know in Connecticut and New Mexico, they are providing, because they have a state-run ERA, or state, in their constitutions in the state, they have an ERA amendment. So then their state Medicare has to pay for everyone's abortion. No restrictions. You can't have like a minor to tell their parent, or late-term abortions. Things that we have as protecting women would all be gone. It would all be open abortion for everyone. Every hospital that wants to provide services to women would have to provide an abortion.
And what about the draft? Because
yes.
we haven't brought that up so far. And
yeah, so
would women be drafted then
right.
in time
well,
before?
According to Ruth Bader Ginsburg, the former Supreme Court legislator who is now gone, but she had written a book, Sex Bias and the U.S. Code, in which she says the ERA will require women not only to be drafted, but to fight on the front lines in equal ratio to men.
Wow.
So this, I'm not against women serving.
Absolutely.
And again, that's how it's been spun by the other side. I have a good friend, Toni Delancey. She served in the U.S. military, in the Army, and she was an officer for a technical intelligence unit. She led men and women in that unit. She said, I did not need the ERA to be successful and to do this. And that's the thing, ladies. Right. More women graduate with college degrees than men since 2015 and since we've had census.
Yeah.
More women of all gender or of all races graduate with college degrees as associates, bachelor's, master's, doctorate levels, and so it's not needed.
Right.
Wow, that's a lot of information.
I could
right
say
there.
a lot more.
Well, if you want to take a couple more minutes,
well,
and just
the other thing is they talk about what about the pay gap? You know, there's a pay gap they claim for men and women. Well, I looked that up because, you know, when you're going to speak on behalf of a resolution, you kind of want to know the details of what might be coming up. And so I found a very interesting article, and it was Janet Napolitano. Do you remember her as DHS secretary under Obama? And then she became the university president in Berkeley, California. And she did a study because she wanted to know, why is there a pay gap? More women are graduating than men. Why is it? And so she wrote an article, when women pursue degrees in high-paying fields, they are still more likely to choose the least lucrative majors. And she wrote this article in Forbes magazine in 2020. She cited a Georgetown University Center on Education and the Workforce Study, in which what happens is women pick degrees in humanities. Men pick degrees in business. And the finance as a degree major only 33% of women choose that major. And that's the highest paying field of all.
Yeah.
So it's more complicated than just gender, is what my point is.
That's interesting.
Yes.
Anything else that you want
Well, I
on
just
that
hope
one?
people will take the time, especially the news media, to look at what we are talking about. We're not ever talking, this isn't about the state resolution. It is something to make sure, this resolution just makes sure people know that the ERA resolution that was signed way back when had an end date. And it's gone and dead.
So is this a bipartisan bill, or, I mean, are you seeing the left, the right?
Well, it came, yes.
Or is it men or women?
Right.
Who voted for it and who voted against it?
You know, Mary, I can't keep track of all of that.
Okay, I know, but does
pass
it lean one way or the other, or is everyone on board?
Well,
or?
basically, people fall into the trap of thinking ERA, we've got to support it, and they don't look at the details. And that's why I so appreciate opportunity today. I hope I was clear about what we are talking about here.
Sure. You know, but something along that same line, and I heard this from a legislator told me that they rarely read the bills. And I hate to say that, and I just said it out loud. There's a lot of bills, they just say, well, what do you, well, how should I vote? And they vote how their friend votes or how they're told to vote, because they just don't have time to research every bill in detail. So I'm going to put that out there.
Yes.
So this is a bill that's very important, and if they're not researching it, they need to know more about it, and we're so glad that you brought it to everyone's attention.
There is some very good testimony online. If you look at 4010, look at the testimony. North Dakota Catholic Conference testified in support of it. North Dakota Right to Life, North Dakota Family Policy Alliance.
Well, and I don't know how the male legislators are feeling about this on the Hill, but I think as women, I would rather know that if you want to protect us, then some of these bills that sound like they're really good candy, no, they're not. And so, you know, sometimes to protect us more, you need to vote yes on things like this.
Yes, Carmen, I totally agree. I hope men will vote for this resolution. It is a right thing to do.
Well, and we live in such a society right now where it is very tricky for men because they'll get killed if they, you know, do something that looks like it's against women, and sometimes we need you to do something.
Yeah, because on the surface it sounds great. I mean, who isn't for equal rights, you know, for women? So it sounds like it would be something that yes, we need that.
Yes.
And it's like, but to know that we already have it in the 14th Amendment, this is a bill that we want to see pass.
Right. It's called a concurrent resolution, similar to does the same thing.
Yes.
It'll come to the floor for a vote.
And this is tomorrow, right?
Tomorrow it's in a hearing, the Government and Veterans Affairs in the House.
All right, so we want you viewers to go ahead and contact your legislators, and it doesn't even have to be your own legislator. Contact your own and then some more, and tell them
your
to
friends.
vote yes on this resolution.
And you can go on the website on northdakota.gov and find out who's on that committee and actually email each one of them. There's that information is out there.
Well, I know it was introduced by Clemens, Myrdal, and Representative Rohr. And so those are three to start with, but they're already on board. But they can help point you in the right direction too. But you go ahead and get your testimony in.
Yep.
You don't have to say much.
Yes.
No, but it makes a difference. And we've had legislators on here who've said they really do listen, and it makes a difference.
Absolutely.
And like the one on confession, they even removed that whole thing because they were inundated.
Because of the pressure.
Because of,
they want to do the right thing.
So
rarely is a person there working and serving their country or their state because they have ulterior motives.
Right.
So.
Okay, we're going to come back with some more bills to talk about with Linda Thorson right after this.
Today's households have more digital devices than ever before. More links to family, business, education, and entertainment. Beck Communications spent over 10 years building North Dakota's fastest fiber optic internet service. Beck Lightband Internet, outpacing speeds in large cities nationwide. Lightband Internet handles all your digital needs without throttling your connection to the world. Beck Communications, valuable digital connections in rural North Dakota.
Since opening in Hebron in 1940, Dakota Community Bank and Trust has been your hometown bank. Our mission has been to provide modern banking convenience with old-fashioned hometown service. We've grown with the communities we serve. through year-round events, countless sponsorships, and nearly 7,000 hours of volunteering each year. Learn more about our 80-year history at dakotacommunitybank.com.
Respect, innovation, trust, and excellence. These core values can be seen in every building built by Straightway Construction. In the community for over 15 years, Straightway Construction has become the premier construction company for commercial projects. From dirt to design and framing to finish, Straightway Construction is your #1 choice. You won't have to look far to find a project that has that Straightway touch. Call them today or go online to straightwayconstruction.com and let them make your vision a reality.
Jeez, what a mess. Look at that. There's roof stuff everywhere. It's so embarrassing. Ruins the neighborhood. Come on, humans. Let's get this fixed.
Don't let your roof go to the dogs. Call America's Best Contractors for your free estimate.
Need a new woof?
After checking with the rest, go with the best. America's Best Contractors. 258-2412. Online at americasbestcontractorsincorporated.com.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and as you know, my passion is to help each and every one of you get the best sleep of your life. That's why I created my new Giza Dreams bed sheets. I started by using the world's best cotton called Giza. It's only grown in a region between the Sahara Desert, the Mediterranean Sea, and the Nile River. It's ultra soft and breathable, but extremely durable. My Giza sheets also include full 21-inch wide pillowcases that will fit over any pillow and deep pocket sheets that will fit over any mattress. The first night you sleep on my sheets, you'll never want to sleep on anything else.
Go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen right now to get your very own MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets. Giza Dream Sheets are available in a variety of colors. Use your promo code, and for a limited time, when you buy one set of sheets, you'll get another set absolutely free.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit mypillow.com.
Welcome back to Ladies Up, another view on Beck. Those two segments, that was a lot of information in two segments, that's for sure. But we have about 3 more bills that we want her to talk about. And the first one is House Bill number 1298, and it's regarding biological male and females in sports. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that one?
Well, that is a pretty simple bill.
Yes.
Basically, it's to protect.
You would think it would be, right?
It brings a lot of conversation, let's say, and controversy as well. But basically, Title IX was done and written and passed for a reason. Do you know that it was nearly 50 years ago that in the Boston Marathon, that was the first time they allowed women to race? Yeah. Why did they have a women's only race? Because they wanted to know who was the fastest female marathon runner in Boston that year. And so they did it. But women had to fight for that right. It wasn't just given to them. They had to say, I want to play too. I want to be a part too. So this bill makes sure that we are ensuring fair competition and equal opportunity for our girls and our women. That whole idea is being under threat. So the controversy is that what about those that feel they were born one gender and want to play with a group of another gender? Where do they go? I say they stay with the team of their gender, of their biological gender, and they can play. We're not saying you can't play. We're just saying that there is a team for you. If you have XX chromosome, it's this team. If you have XY chromosome, it's this team. And it's not denying anyone. What happens is that when you bring boys into a girls' sports team, they have an unfair advantage. We know that their ligaments, their bones, and their muscles are all stronger. They have greater lung capacity. They have a higher red blood cell count. And they're just overall stronger, able to endure in strength and endurance more than women. So what's happened is in those teams that have allowed it, in fact, yesterday when we spoke, CWA spoke on behalf of this bill, there was a woman there who is a weightlifter from Minnesota. And she was denied a title because a man came in. There is no way that's equal competition or a fair and equal playing field. There's a reason why we have girls-only sports teams. The other discussion that was held yesterday in committee was So if we allow one transgender boy, why can't we allow 6? So the girls' basketball team is now going to be all transgender boys.
Wouldn't that be something?
Who's going to watch that, Mary?
I
So
just
we
can't.
do have a lot of fight going on with, for instance, the tourism industry that says, well, other teams aren't going to come if you don't allow transgender youth to play with our high school sports teams. They've put a lot into this bill. Representative Koppelman has tried to work to hear the back and forth, and it isn't for that problem. That problem will not exist with the amendment that's on. But the other thing, Mary, is it always about dollars? When do we say equal rights? When do we say this is a right of our daughters and our granddaughters, and we will stand for them, and we will speak for them? Because we know those are women and girls that are training of a chosen sport for over a long time to try and earn a scholarship. So what happens? The other argument is, well, we don't have any transgender youth now currently in North Dakota wanting to play on as a transgender youth on another team. Do we wait until a child, a young girl or a high school girl loses her opportunity to play in a sport or to receive a scholarship before we say, oh, we need a law?
Yeah, it's
I
crazy.
say no. We forward think and we say we can work with this.
Isn't it just a little crazy? We were just talking about the Equal Rights Amendment, and we want equal rights for girls, born girls. They've got girls' bodies. We wanted to stick with the science. We're not saying they can't play in sports, but let's just go with the science because it does make a difference how you grow and
that's why
develop.
I really like Concerned Women for America, because we are looking for those issues. We have 7 core issues, and this is just one of them, where we want to speak on behalf of our children. This is what I see as an umbrella of education. If we're going to educate our children, why do we even have sports teams? It's to provide them a step to the next level in their lives. As leaders, most leaders, or most in organizations of companies, have played sports. Not that we all have to, but I mean, those are the opportunities that we would be removing from our young girls by saying boys can compete against you. And we will not be bullied.
Will this limit if you have a girl on, let's say, a football team?
No, again, Ben Koppelman has done a great job in the House to make sure that these situations won't provide a problem for those teams.
It's specifically written in there that girls can still, it says this section may not be construed to prohibit a female from participating in a school-sponsored athletic team. So I know Mandan had kickers, you know, and
that's
and
not
girls can wrestle.
Yeah, it
And
won't
that's-
affect that.
So mainly it's going to prohibit boys,
From playing.
gender-born boys from playing girls' sports.
And they can play. We're not denying a child an opportunity or a student an opportunity to play in a sport team. We're saying this says girls. If they want a co-ed team, they can play in the co-ed team as well.
All right, we're going to have to quickly get through 2 other ones. Let's be really fast on this free speech in college. It's House Bill number 1503.
Correct. And that one has yet to be scheduled in the Senate Education Committee. But basically, a child that goes to a university, a student that goes to a university, doesn't lose their First Amendment rights when they walk on campus. Right?
Sure.
Those free speech zones, they sound good. But why can't I say my opinion in other areas of the campus? So I only have my First Amendment rights here? No, everywhere. Free right to assemble, that means, let's say you have a group and it's a little controversial. You're Republican. You have one that's Democrat. And it's not as controversial. Well, they were charging in some campuses for you to bring your speaker more money than for you because they expected a backlash. That, again, is penalizing. North Dakota Catholic Conference has done a great, go to their site to find more information about this bill. Christopher Dodson has done a great work with that.
Sure, and then you had another one that we're passionate about, and that is Senate Bill number 2308. And that has to do with
that's a great bill.
Isn't it? it is common sense. I can't believe you have to have a bill for it.
I was an educator for 26 years. And one of the things we were always talking about in our professional development was climate. So what is the environment that the children are growing up in? And we're to challenge them, of course, and we're to have goals. So you would see 10 pillars, maybe in your own schools, you've seen these pillars of of character pillars they're called. Well, this bill allows the 10 Commandments to be posted on a wall, or that a classroom can recite the Pledge of Allegiance without penalty. So that's not saying it's mandated, but as a teacher, if you want the 10 Commandments there, you are permitted to do so with immunity. The school board will not be sued. If you don't want that there, you can go to your school board and complain. And the school board can say, okay, we're taking it down. Or they can say, no, we want it up. And then you elect those officials that you want that would stay. I want the 10 Commandments. I want the Pledge of Allegiance. And this has been done in one of our schools in the state where a parent complained about the Pledge of Allegiance, and that school stopped reciting
That
the
is
Pledge of
unbelievable.
Allegiance.
That is awful. That is just ridiculous.
It's like,
So, yeah.
you feel our state slipping.
Yes.
And I can't tell you how excited I am to know that we addressed this in this legislature. We addressed free speech on the college level in this legislature.
Right.
It's like we are taking North Dakota back. We do not have to follow all these crazy things going on throughout the country. This is North Dakota.
And
Let's
this has
protect
already
our
passed
values.
the Senate. You know, so it's already been
Good.
through half of the legislature.
Good.
Now the deal is with this one, people will say, well, you can't put something like a religious document on the wall.
Let's just call it the 10 rules to be nice. How about
Right.
that?
Yeah.
But the
10
typical
rules to be
10
nice.
rules not to wind up in jail and be nice.
The typical argument, because I've been on these committees,
Yeah.
like with the Christmas program 30 years ago, and they
Sure.
said, well, if you allow that, then you have to allow the other side.
Okay.
And, okay,
So
we only
I'm
have
fine
20
with that.
seconds.
Let's put the Muslim.
Well, no,
yeah.
we're talking about satanic groups, and
Oh,
we're like,
I
no,
see.
no,
Okay.
no.
Okay.
Well,
So the deal is, ladies, they're already studying
Okay,
biblical
sure.
passages.
All right.
Well,
yeah,
we're going to have you back on, Linda. Unfortunately, we ran out of time for today, but we'd love to have
Okay.
you back. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much.
thank
It was
you.
very fun.
And we'll be right back after this.
Respect, innovation, trust, and excellence. These core values can be seen in every building built by Straightway Construction. In the community for over 15 years, Straightway Construction has become the premier construction company for commercial projects. From dirt to design and framing to finish, Straightway Construction is your #1 choice. You won't have to look far to find a project that has that Straightway touch. Call them today or go online to straightwayconstruction.com and let them make your vision a reality.
Deciding how to promote your business can be hard. Visit the professionals at Dakota Promotions and Printing and let them help you through your struggle. Dakota Promotions provides promotional items and apparel from corporate gifts to team shirts and everything in between. With quick turnaround times and friendly service, they are your best choice. And best yet, you're shopping local. Visit them online at dakotapromo.com or stop in their showroom at 320 West Main in Mandan. Dakota Promotions, delivering promotions just for you.
Every great pizza has a secret. At New York To Go, that secret lies in our perfectly recreated New York water, the key ingredient to making our signature New York-style pizza. We also feature gyros, with the region's only gyro meat spit, plus Nathan's hot dogs, calzones, and our delicious jumbo buffalo wings. Try a 14-inch or our special giant 20-inch pizza tonight. You gotta know how to fold them if you want to hold them. New York To Go, we deliver for you.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Indoor football is back in Bismarck. Bucks football season is right around the corner. Grab a friend or family member for a night of action-packed, hard-hitting entertainment. The Bucks open at the Bismarck Event Center May 8th as they take on the Massachusetts Pirates. Catch the sweetest seats in the house right on the sidelines with VIP service at a Bucks turf table. Available now for single game purchases. Secure your tickets today by calling 701-595-0771. Bucks football, half the field and double the fun.
Beck Communications is hiring. Beck Communications is seeking qualified candidates for plant technicians in our Wheatland, North Dakota location. Beck Communications is an equal opportunity employer. To view the job details, visit www.beck.coop. To apply, email your cover letter and resume to careers@bechtel.coop. Beck Communications, making connections that matter.
Welcome back to Ladies of Another View.
Happy St. Patty's Day.
Yes, this is the lighter side.
Okay, so these aren't our beer goggles, we promise. They're just goggles. But we just thought we'd be a little bit festive for you. Yeah.
Now we can see.
And what else do you do with these things? They're not very practical.
Well, it's a sponge, so you can actually, you know,
they are.
mop the
you
floor
can scrub
or do a little
toilets
dishes
now,
with them.
Wash your dishes.
We could. But you know, St. Patty's Day, it is a big celebration. And again, it was a religious, it's kind of sort of a religious holiday, but most people don't understand that side of it. So we hope you learned a little bit on our first segment that it is named after St. Patrick, but he, again, just to summarize it, he's actually British, and he was never canonized as a saint, but he is the people's saint, I would say.
He was a miracle worker, and anytime somebody goes back to the people that enslaved him, he said, well, just like he had a dream when he escaped that a ship was waiting for him.
So the Irish can dream too, you know.
That's right, we can dream big. And he had a dream that he could hear the voices of the Irish calling back, saying, come back for us.
Well, that's interesting. You know, we have a short clip regarding the parades, because parades are a big deal. And this year, New York City got to have their parade again. And that gives me hope that, and I think it shows that they're giving the New York people hope, because
is that because Cuomo's in so much trouble?
Yeah.
They better not tick off the Irish,
bit of distraction.
Right?
Yes,
to
keep
let
the Irish
the Irish far enough. They better give them a parade.
But I do believe we have a clip of that parade. If we could maybe pop that up for you guys to see. And I just absolutely love bagpipes. I just think that's fantastic.
And a lot of people think that bagpipes are just Scottish, but they're Irish too.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So anyway, I just thought it was a nice deal that New York City got to have their parade. Have you guys been to any festivities? Like, what's your biggest St. Patty's Day celebration?
The Detroit St. Patrick's Day Parade, where we were Irish step dancers and we were in the parade. And St. Patrick's Day is just huge in the Detroit area and all around. So it's a lot of fun.
Well, my biggest St. Patty's Day wasn't St. Patty's Day, but I went to the river dance when they came to the Civic Center. And
wonderful.
What an amazing, amazing show. If you ever get the chance, oh my gosh. And of course, I love that kind of music too. And so the whole Celtic thing was just amazing. Amazing.
I had a cousin who was one of the river dancers, and I went to his wedding, and he had a lot of the river dancers with him.
Really?
So they cleared the floor. It was so amazing.
I bet.
And they did a dance from the river dance, and I took out my phone, and I thought I was recording it.
Oh, no.
And I wasn't, and I realized I wasn't, and then I pressed the button, and there was like 4 seconds left. But boy, was it amazing. Can they dance?
I bet.
Well, so the first, Boston claims the stake to the first parade. Okay, so they said that on March 17th, 1737, more than 24 Presbyterians who emigrated from the north of Ireland gathered to honor St. Patrick and formed the Charitable Irish Society to assist distressed Irishmen in the city. So they were helping the homeless and the poor. So the oldest Irish organization in North America still holds its annual dinner every St. Patrick's Day. But then there was a little bit of controversy too. There was this other group that was against the Irish, and they would go ahead and they would they called it patty making on the eve of St. Patrick's Day by erecting effigies of Irishmen wearing rags and necklaces of potatoes with whiskey bottles in their hands. And they did that until it was banned in 1803. So,
wow.
I mean, so the St. Patty's Day, there's a lot of history to it.
Yeah.
I mean, more than I ever knew. I'm so glad that we got to talk about it today. But then they also talked about after the Irish Catholics flooded into the country here, the decade basically after the potato famine is when they all came over here. Well, then they had no way to celebrate their heritage, and so St. Patty's Day also became kind of their holiday that they could go out and just kind of hang out with each other and celebrate each other and their heritage.
Yeah, yeah.
Kind of like the Oktoberfest too, I suppose.
Yeah.
Right, really, because it's about it's a group of people from a very small country. Take out your world map,
right.
or look it up. Ireland, the Emerald Island is just a small little piece of land,
right?
And look what they did. They really brought St. Patrick's Day everywhere they went.
Well, so and they were kind of known as the Irish were very looked down upon. I mean, it was very bad, but it all kind of changed during the Civil War. They left as second-class citizens, but came back as heroes, and so that's when the Irish started being more admired, because they were very, very. It was like the bottom of society for a very long time right here in America.
Right. Well, did you ever see that movie? I think is it Streets of New York? With
haven't seen that.
It was like the gangs back in the 17 gangs of New York. That's what it was, gangs of New York, and that's a pretty. I don't know how much of it is true, but it was very enlightening because I think some of it did go on.
They did get involved in politics.
Yep.
But then a lot of the old movies, you have a police officer with an Irish accent. The priests were Irish.
Yeah.
They really got into society.
Yeah,
they
did.
Politics.
So just in the last few seconds here, do you have any plans for tonight?
No.
No St. Patrick's
I have a
Day?
grandson's birthday party,
Okay,
but yeah,
so
I used to have parties, but
it'll be a green frosting on the cake.
Yes.
So we're glad you joined us today, and we hope you learned something, both legislatively as well as a little bit about St. Patrick's Day. And we hope you join us again next time on Ladies of Another View on Back.